Greetings and salutations, welcome back. Today we'll begin part 2 of our 3, hopefully, part series about my ribbon burner forge and its build and such. So today we are going to go over the plumbing, and we are going to go over the air blowing system, and we are going to see how all of that's put together. You will probably watch me put some of it together. Most of the construction of the entire system is mostly going to be standard pipe fit, so it's just going to be basically screwing it on. The majority of that is there. You may see me sweat a joint and drill a couple holes for the air mixture system. I'm going to be explaining all of this and how it goes. Excuse me. I'm going to be explaining all of this and how it goes through. And as I said in part 1, most of this is based off of Wayne Coe's plans off of his website, which I'll also link below. So we'll see all of that, and then we're going to be firing it up for the first time. And I'm kind of nervous, I'll be honest with you guys, because I have not seen this fired up yet. So this will be the first time on camera, and hopefully I don't burn down my shop, which actually, I'll be honest, I'm not worried about burning down my shop. What I am worried about is that my blower is not going to have enough blow. So yeah, it's designed for a coal forge. It's not designed for the CFMs that's necessary. You need to basically, a ribbon burner is a high pressure system. You need to have at least 7 inches of fluid movement for it to really truly work. So I'm hoping that I can get that with this blower. Otherwise I might have to find a different one. The overall cost of this build is not too terribly much. I am putting the cost of the entire build and a breakdown of what I purchased and how I purchased it over on my Patreon page. If you are interested in that, go ahead and go there. So let's go ahead and look at the plumbing system. All right, so here we're having, this is the completed mixer essentially. So I've soldered this piece on, and you can see that it's soldered through here. So this is the only piece that I actually modified from the actual black pipe. So this piece has a hole drilled through it just enough so I can actually fit the copper pipe through it. And I capped the copper pipe right here. And then I soldered a copper pipe fitting right here so I can screw everything in. So this is really the only piece that you're gonna have to make on your own. Everything else is store-bought, and I'll have the link in the descriptions down below of all the stuff that I bought. So the other thing that I did, and you're gonna need a set of files for this, is this is a triangular file and then a round file. And the only reason why I use a round file is because so you see here I created that notch. That notch, I rounded it off because you have to grip this and screw it into this. So on this, if you'll notice, on which side? This side. So this side I've actually created a notch on the back, on the top, and a notch there. And those, the only reason why those are there is that this end is the end that's going to go upwards towards the burner. And this is where the airflow comes through. So the direction is gonna go that way. Okay, so that's the only reason why those notches are there, is to let me know what direction it goes. So this lets me know that I put that notch up when I'm actually screwing it in, because as I screw it in, as you'll watch, tighten it down, that notch is the one that comes up, okay? And it's important to know what portion of this is up, because next step is we're gonna drill 3 tiny holes in there, all right? And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna mark the edge, trying to look around the camera here. We're gonna mark the edge of that, so that lets us know what's actually in the pipe. And I tried just using silver marking pen, and the reality is that as soon as you touch it, it slimes right off. So now, if we look on this, Yep, see, there we go, right there. So as we're looking at it, right there is the edge of the tube here. So we're going to drill a small hole basically there, there, and there. So 3 small holes, and that's where the propane gets let out. Now the air is going to come around this and just swirl around that and grab that propane and move it on up. And that's the whole purpose behind this mixture, is to introduce the propane into the system at a controlled rate. The hole size really doesn't matter a whole lot. I'm actually planning on it to be roughly around this size. 3 tiny pinholes that are about that big. And the reason for that is you're going to have a regulator, a needle valve on this end. You've already seen the setup, or you will see the setup on this, so you can see where all of that goes. And that needle valve is what really is going to control the flow of the propane. You just want it big enough that you don't cut it off at fully open wide. As long as it's bigger than that, it doesn't really make any difference how holes there are. I mean, in theory, you can do one big hole, or you could have not capped this off. I chose to cap this off. It's entirely up to you what you do. And my solder job is apparently not that great, obviously. So that's what we're looking at. So my next step is to go to the drill press, and since I have this mark right here, I am going to drill 3 small holes right there, and then the entire mixing piece will be done, and it's on to putting it all together and testing it out. So you see that in a second. All right, so here you can see that we're ready to drill those out. All right, so you can see I've added little dimples. I've center punched 3 areas so the drill bit can easily hit them. They're not terribly even now that I look at it. This one is a little bit closer to that one, and this one is really, really close. But again, it doesn't really matter, and I'm not going to sweat it too much. This is copper. Cutting fluid is probably a little overkill, but just for giggles, we're gonna overkill it. Dab a lot. All right. Oops. And I do have it in a vise, so it's not gonna run away. And again, it is a small enough hole that the chances of it running away are really, really slim. But and in theory, you should probably have stopped the drill and then measured those out and made sure that they're in the right space. But that's what we got. 3 little holes, and if we look down there, you can see, if we can get the light on it. You can see, yeah, you can kind of see the little holes up there, see? And that's it. This propane mixer is now done, provided that it's airtight, which it pretty much is. And if it's not, I'll fix it. So we have the mixer, then we go to the regulator, and then we go to the needle valve. And it's important to get a needle valve and not a ball valve. That's what this is. This is a ball valve. So you can see my hand underneath that. And then as I turn it, there's a little brass ball that goes into there. Because the ball valve is not a very good way to regulate, because you can see here how it does actually close that off, but the flow doesn't really change a whole lot until you get right down on there. So it doesn't control very good. It's excellent for shutoff, but it's not terribly great for regulation. So this is my shutoff valve. This shuts off the entire propane system through the entire thing. And then I have my needle valve to control. So this will be on off, and I'll have multiple off switches as it goes up the line, just to safety. So as it goes all the way through. But this whole system hangs off. Now once this is tightened up, it'll get about that short. But that's a fair stick out, because it has to have all of these different bits, which is the reason why I could have made this section as long as I wanted it to. But ultimately I probably should have cut this off and moved it closer. But I didn't want to have to resolder that joint, which is really, really annoying. So there's all that. And again, this goes off into the gas system. And the regulator will regulate the gas system as well. So you have your regulator and you have your needle valve to regulate your gas system. All right. Here we have the entire system as connected. Now, an interesting thing to note is that everything from basically right here, this direction, is set up for, actually, I'm sorry, right here is set up for propane. So if we, okay, we just unscrew this right here, all right, so that this is a propane regulator, and it's just set up to go to a standard propane, 20-pound propane connection. This whole system here is both propane and natural gas. So there's our propane system. And then this right here is a natural gas system that I purchased off of Amazon. And it comes with all kinds of different fittings. This is a needle valve that I actually got from Wayne Co. that I no longer need to use, because it is a 1/4 inch and I wanted the whole system to be a 1/2 inch, mostly because it made this section really, really easy. Okie dokie. So this is going to get piped up. Everything else is copper, so it's going to get Teflon tape. So we start off with this tiny Teflon tape. This is the stuff that came with the system. Whoa. So again, what is this? Piece you make connected to a T-valve. That T-valve is purely to show this. So right now we have the pause up, the thing out. I don't know which direction I'm going to twist that in, depending on whether it's here or here. But these have to go up. I wish I could do this 1/2 more turn, and I may actually try. This is a male-to-male connector, purely so we can attach this. This is our needle valve. Our needle valve is important
as it is what controls the gas flow completely. So that is important to have on there and accessible. All right. Then we have another male-to-male connector, and that is to attach to our on-off switch. Our on-off switch, this is purely to turn on and off the gas. It is a ball valve. We do not use it to regulate, but you can see there. So we have on, off. So the idea is you can set your flow rate and then turn it off here and not have to muck with that. If you set the flow rate for your fan and your pressure and all of that, you can get all your regulations set. So pretty much it's really just turn on your forge, and the only mucking about you have to do is based off of the temperature of the air outside, which again, once your forge gets up to temperature, it's not really going to make a whole lot of difference. So this allows you to not muck about with it. This hose is going to stay on there. So this hose is going to be your standard hose, and this is just a natural gas hose that I purchased. All right. And so that is going to stay all the same. Now, this right here, as we get into some of my camera equipment and sure. This right here is at start. I am going to first start out with this on propane, and that is because I haven't gotten all my natural gas lines plumbed as of yet, but eventually I'm going to have a natural gas line plumbed into the shop, and this forge is designed to run off of natural gas. It's actually designed to run off of both, because anything that can run natural gas can run propane as long as you keep that into account. The propane does not necessarily run natural gas. Natural gas has a much lower flow rate. Its pressure is really low, usually in the low 4s. So you cannot run a Venturi burner off of a natural gas. It's impossible from a residential natural gas perspective, simply because it doesn't have enough pressure to create the Venturi effect. A standard blown air, burner, you just need to create a mixing chamber. Natural gas needs a lot longer, or not a lot more time to mix with the ambient air to be able to burn, which is the reason why I am inserting this so much lower into the pipe. And I'll show you that in a little bit. Okay? Or maybe I've already shown it to you. I don't know. I should really plan these more. Yay! Alright. So back to where we were.
All right. So after working with the other blower, I didn't even bother to film it. It does not have the CFMs. It does not have the blowing power to blow through this entire system. Basically, I hold my hand out under here, and I could barely feel any air with it on max and fully open, and that is not good, because we want to be able to push the air through here to mix with the propane. That's the only way we're going to get the temperature that we need to. So I went and I bought one. So this is a $30 blower. It is a Buffalo blower, Buffalo blend, so you all should recognize that. It is totally 100% plastic, but it's going to be on the end of a tube. all the way down on the floor, and this is going to be all contained, so the chances of anything happening are really, really slim. So only drawback is it's not quiet. So I may end up building a baffling box or something to try and quiet it down, because it's really, really loud. And the whole point of this is that it's not supposed to be loud, but I can also put it outside and such. So I'm going to attach this. That's all attached. And now we're going to go ahead and fire it up. So again, the buffalo blower goes through the air line up to the base, and then this knob controls the airflow. This is wide open, so I can control it down to a little bit less, a lot less actually, because that's a gate valve. And then it goes up to the propane mixture, and then that goes all the way up and around. And as I said, these were all firing. All right, so sequence of events. Always turn on your blower and then turn on everything else. The reality is that I'm not entirely sure what setting the blower is on. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but down here I have this right here. This is going to go on the inside of my forge. It's a fire protectant. This is blowing straight down, and I don't have the forge to contain it. So in an effort to make sure that I don't melt anything down there, I have that as kind of a protectant to keep that from getting too terribly hot. I don't know if it's actually needed, but it's nice to have. All right, so here we go. Hopefully I don't blow up, but I do have a fire extinguisher right here, and I have another larger one right over here. All right, blower. That is wide open. That's one atmosphere. Wow. That is one atmosphere. Holy crap. And that is why we have a shutoff valve. That was a lot. But it works. Yeah. I'm thinking that I can replumb it and retune it, or I'll just put it in the forge and tune it then. But it was firing out of all cylinders, and I don't know if you guys was able to see the amount of flame, but it was shooting down to here. Okay? I mean, lots of flame. Now I was able to put my hand here and it wasn't too terribly hot, but I don't want the flame that close to the propane lines. So there you have it. the buffalo blower looks like it works. No. That's toast. Okay. Greetings and salutations. Start again. And now. This is going to be a pretty good outtakes reel. All right, so greetings and
So this, oh, motherfucker. I'm gonna have to beat that out. I just don't trust it blowing straight down at all of the parts like that.